Hello, hello to my favorite Algebra 2 students. Hope you are enjoying your e-learning day as much as I am. Real quick here, please ignore the top of these notes that say piecewise function quiz. That is not happening. With that being said, let's go through and learn how to do piecewise. Real quick, just a little thing about piecewise. Guys, what the heck is piecewise? Piecewise functions are functions that are defined by two or more rules. In these first couple problems, I give you rules and you have to answer questions based off of them. So if we look at this first problem, number 1a, okay, they give us the function f of x can equal x plus 2 if x is less than 3, or x plus 7 if x is greater than 3, or equal to 3. So in this first one, they want us to check f of negative 5. So when x is negative 5, they want to know what f of x is equal. Well, first of all, we have to decide which rule we're going to follow on this. Negative 5, so that means that it's going to be plugged into this rule here, okay? We are plugging it into this rule. So when I plug this in, we're going to say negative 5 plus 2. Well, what does that equal? Negative 3. So then we check f of 3, which is going to follow our second rule. So when we plug that in, we're going to say 3 plus 7, and that equals 10. And then lastly on this one, f of 5. Well, again, that's going to follow the second rule. So 5 plus 7 equals 12. Pretty basic. You just got to make sure that you are plugging your number into the right rule. Follow the rules of what's less than, greater than, equal to, and all that jazz, and then you just plug it in. With that, I'm going to also do part B here, and then I'm going to leave part C and D blank for you guys to do. So let's take a look at B. The first one they want is G of 0. Well, which rule does that fall into? That falls into rule number 2, okay? So when I plug, oh look, there's nothing to plug in. It just says if your x falls in here, your answer is 5 regardless, okay? The second one, when x is negative 6. Well, again, be careful here, okay? We cannot do rule number 2 because that says when x is less than negative 6. But x in this case is exactly negative 6, which means we again have to go with rule number 2, so it is 5. And then lastly, G of 10. Well, which rule does that follow? That follows our third rule. So 10 squared equals 100. So on this problem, you'll see none of the questions that they even asked went with rule number 1, and that's going to happen, okay? So if you guys want to keep going on this video, you can, and then come back and answer these other questions. That's fine, or you can go ahead and pause it and complete problems C and D. Otherwise, I'm going to jump down to the graphing stuff next. Okay, so here we go on this next part, guys. Now we are looking at graphs, okay? So I'm going to do this first graph, and then I'm going to leave this second one for you guys to do, the G of x one. So on this first graph, they want to know when what does f of x equal when x is negative 5? So we have to go to our x-axis, and we're going to count over negative 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, what is the answer there? Positive 1. So then we're going to do the same thing for when x is negative 1. Okay? Now you'll see we have two options here. We can either go up to 2 or down to negative 1. Well, they want to know when it is negative 1. And if we go down, it's an open circle, which means it doesn't include that. So we're actually going to take the top line here. Okay, so when f of x is negative 1, y equals positive 2. Okay? When x is 1, it equals, again, positive 2. And then when x is 7, so I'm going to count it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I'll look, it falls at 0. Okay? So again, you guys can either choose to work on the second graph there on your own, or pause the video and do that, or we're going to go on. Okay, guys, we're down here at this bottom graphing. First thing I'm going to do here is I am going to draw, I'm going to put this in red, kind of like the danger zone. My boundaries here. My boundaries end up with the 3, x at 3. So I'm going to draw this just for my information here. Draw it lightly with your pencil, okay? So the first thing they say is that when x is less than 3, so we're going looking to the left here, that means that y is 4. So when x is 3, y is 4. Well, that's for every number. Let me put this in a different color so you can see it. For every number less than 3, y is going to be 4. So that is this entire line right here, okay? And that's up to the 3. Now, it doesn't equal 3, so I'm going to put an open circle with that. Now, in this next one, it says if x is greater than or equal to 3. So we're going to include that number this time, okay? But we have a line we have to graph that's in slope-intercept form. So this one's going to start at, you can draw this lightly. If you want, my intercept is, oh, I'm sorry, guys. I put that last one on 3 instead of 4, so give me a second. You can laugh at me, say I'm terrible, okay? All right, I apologize. It's supposed to be at the 4. I miscounted. So open circle on the 3, and y equals 4, all that way. Now, I'm going to put this one in orange. When the x-intercept is at 3, it has a slope of -1, 1. Okay, so we're going this way, but it does not actually start until it hits that red line. And it says that when x is greater than or equal to 3. So I'm going to put a solid circle there, and I'm going to keep that line, keep that line going at the same slope, and I'm going to go back and get rid of what it didn't include, okay? And that, in a nutshell, is the graph. You don't want to have that red line on there, so that's why I said do it lightly, but that's essentially what our graph would look like, okay? I'd like you guys to go ahead and try that second graph. If you have any questions, just hold them off till Monday when I see you again. We'll deal with it. We'll go through all of this. We'll make sure we understand it all, and then we'll do a little bit more with it. All right, see you later. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.